Their invasion was unstoppable until one human ship refused to fall. The Nexus Defense Fleet died in the first hour of the invasion. Admiral Dax watched from his command ship as vessel after vessel succumbed to the relentless assault of the Void Swarm, their biomechanical forms writhing through space like predatory serpents made of metal and flesh. The enemy had emerged from the dark regions beyond charted space, bringing with them weapons that seemed to learn and adapt to every defensive measure the galaxy could deploy. "Sir, the Crystalline Dominion's flagship just went down," reported Communications Officer Ray, her scaled hands trembling as she worked her console. "That's the last of the heavy cruisers. The swarm is breaking through our final defensive line." Admiral Dax nodded grimly, his four eyes tracking the tactical display that showed the systematic destruction of everything he had spent his career protecting. The Void Swarm had swept through 3 sectors in as many weeks, consuming entire fleets and leaving nothing but dead worlds in their wake. Every military strategist in the galaxy had declared their advance unstoppable. "Initiate full retreat," Dax commanded, though the words tasted like poison in his mouth. "Signal all remaining vessels to fall back to the secondary defense perimeter." The retreat order had barely been transmitted when proximity alarms began screaming throughout the bridge. Something was approaching through hyperspace, its energy signature massive enough to register on sensors from halfway across the system. "Sir, I'm reading a single vessel dropping out of hyperspace," Ray reported, her voice rising with disbelief. "It's moving directly toward the swarm formation." The view screen flickered to life, showing the newcomer as it materialized from the dimensional rift. The ship was unlike anything in the standard fleet configurations, angular and brutal, its hull scarred with the marks of countless battles. Weapon emplacements covered every surface, while armor plating thick enough to stop planetary bombardment protected its vital systems. "What class of vessel is that?" Dax demanded, but even as he asked, he suspected the answer would surprise him. "Sir, the transponder identifies it as the UES Defiance, registry showing Terran Defense Force," Ray replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's a human ship." The bridge fell silent except for the electronic hum of failing systems and distant explosions as the Void Swarm continued its advance. Humans were known throughout the galaxy, but they were considered a minor species with limited military capabilities. Their ships were typically small patrol craft or cargo haulers, nothing that could stand against the force that had destroyed the combined might of 6 galactic civilizations. "Open a communication channel," Dax ordered, though he wondered what he could possibly say to the crew of what appeared to be a suicide mission. The view screen shifted to show the interior of the human vessel's bridge. The man who appeared was middle-aged with steel-gray hair and eyes that spoke of experience with violence. His uniform was practical rather than ceremonial, and the scars on his face suggested someone who had seen combat from the front lines rather than a command deck. "This is Captain Stone of the Defiance," the human said, his voice carrying absolute confidence despite the overwhelming odds. "Admiral Dax, I'm ordering you to maintain your current position. We'll handle the swarm." Dax felt his heart skip, beats in astonishment. "Captain Stone, you're facing over 200 enemy vessels with adaptive weapons technology. Your single ship cannot possibly—" "Admiral," Stone interrupted calmly, "humans have been fighting the Void Swarm for 5 years. We know exactly what they're capable of, and more importantly, we know how to kill them." Before Dax could respond, the Defiance accelerated toward the enemy formation with a speed that should have been impossible for a ship of its size. The Void Swarm responded immediately, their biomechanical forms writhing through space as they converged on the lone human vessel. What followed redefined Admiral Dax's understanding of space combat. The Defiance didn't simply open fire, it unleashed a coordinated assault that seemed to anticipate every move the swarm would make. Weapon systems that Dax had never seen before carved through the enemy formation with surgical precision, while the human ship's movements followed patterns that spoke of extensive experience fighting this particular enemy. "How are they doing?" "This?" Ray asked, staring at the tactical display in amazement as swarm vessels exploded one after another under the Defiance's assault. The answer came from Captain Stone himself as he maintained communication throughout the battle. "The swarm has been raiding human colonies in the Outer Rim for years," he explained. while his ship tore through another group of biomechanical attackers. They thought we were easy prey because we're isolated from the main galactic powers. Massive swarm bioship wrapped itself around the Defiance, attempting to crush the human vessel with appendages that could crack battle station hulls. Instead of retreating, Stone's ship activated close-range weapons that seemed specifically designed for this type of attack, burning through the creature's armor with concentrated fire. They learned to adapt to standard galactic weapons. Stone continued as the dying bioship released its grip and drifted away. But they've never encountered human military doctrine. We don't adapt our technology to fight them. We adapt our tactics. Admiral Dax watched in fascination as the Defiance demonstrated this principle in action. Rather than relying on superior firepower or advanced technology, the human ship used unpredictable movement patterns and constantly changing attack strategies that kept the swarm from establishing effective countermeasures. The swarm's strength is their ability to learn and counter enemy tactics, Stone explained as his ship carved through another formation. But humans have been fighting adaptive enemies for our entire evolutionary history. We learned long ago that the key to defeating something that adapts is to never give it the same target twice. The battle raged for 3 hours, with the Defiance taking on hundreds of enemy vessels through sheer tactical superiority. The human ship absorbed damage that should have destroyed it multiple times, but its armor and repair systems seemed designed specifically for prolonged combat against overwhelming odds. Captain Stone, Dax transmitted as the last swarm bioships began retreating toward hyperspace. How did humanity develop such specialized anti-swarm capabilities? Stone's face appeared on the view screen, and for the first time, Dax saw exhaustion in the human's eyes. Admiral, the Defiance isn't our first ship built for this war. She's the 7th. The first 6 were destroyed learning how to fight these things. The implications struck Dax like a physical blow. While the galaxy had been enjoying peace and prosperity, humanity had been waging a secret war against an enemy that threatened all sentient life. They had paid the price in blood and ships to develop the knowledge that had just saved the Nexus system. Why didn't you request assistance from the Galactic Council? Dax asked. Stone's bitter laughter filled the communication channel. We tried, Admiral. 5 years ago, we sent warnings about the swarm to every major government. We were told our reports were exaggerated and that humans were seeking attention from the galactic community. The Defiance began moving away from the debris field, its scarred hull testament to the price of victory. So we stopped asking for help and started building our own solutions, Stone concluded. The galaxy can thank us after we've won this war. As the human ship disappeared into hyperspace, Admiral Dax stared at the tactical display showing the complete destruction of the supposedly unstoppable void swarm. In the space of one afternoon, everything he thought he knew about humanity had been proven wrong. The galaxy's salvation had come not from its mightiest civilizations, but from the species everyone had dismissed as inconsequential, and they had been fighting alone all along.